Buenas tardes! Good afternoon. Where were we? Right, I took half a day off today out of the shed. It was great. Actually forgot there was an outside world. Thanks, Tari. Where were we? 2016 Nobel Prize Award. So we've done that one. TikTok didn't allow my part one of 2016. I have no idea why. Something about I've broken the guidelines basically with what I posted. So I have no idea they allowed the second part. I've still got to post the third. I was going to do, so we did 2016. I had these up like this. So I honestly don't remember. But look, 2021, 206, 257, 434. No, I will find out what that one is. So I maybe didn't finish it. Look, doop, 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 out of half an hour or 40 minutes or something. So we'll go to 2019 and see what was said. Because I've been away for a day and a bit and I forget what is in which one. So, but as soon as I see it, I'll remember. Because there's so many. All right. So as we know, she always starts with a welcome to Sweden.
Welcome to the old Stock Exchange building in Stockholm, which now houses the Swedish Academy, the Nobel Prize Museum and Library. And this is where we have brought together this year's Nobel Prize laureates for the first time in discussion on TV. We'll be hearing about the ground...
So, whatever. So, let's go to 405. And I cannot remember exactly why I picked these times, but I did go through them all. So,
all right, let's go to Greg Semenza. How are you going to use your medicine or physiology prize platform?
Well, we of course will continue our work, but I guess on a broader public stage, we need to try to emphasize the importance of science for making decisions in society. And there's, more recently, a sense that facts don't matter, and I think we have to emphasize that they do matter, and that
facts matter. Here's a fact for him. During a solar eclipse, when the sun is clearly directly behind the moon, and somebody is in the moon's shadow in that perfect sweet spot on planet Earth, you have that person, the moon's shadow, the moon and the sun lined up in a direct, laser precise straight line. How on earth can that happen if light is traveling from the sun at 299,792 kilometers per second? It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for photons to arrive. If that is the case, when they hit the moon, they would have been traveling for 8 minutes and 20 seconds, which means the sun would be 2.08 degrees away from where it is in the sky, because that is how far Earth turns on its axis in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Now there's a fact worth mentioning, I think.
The science and scientists should play an important role in important decision making for society.
So a wider message, in a sense, from you. That's gone down well, hasn't it? Stanley Whittingham, you are flying the flag for the...
Right, that was all. I remember that. That's just him saying that facts are important. Yeah, they are. Right, let's go to 7:30. Nice and steady. Time slowing down. I would always go a bit before because of the
agree with me. It even includes my family.
Right, Professor Michel Mayor, another of the physicists.
Let's go face it.
Yes.
See, this is how I would be saying it if I was presenting that. Face. I think it's hilarious. I think that might even be why I
emails that didn't used to. All sorts of people agree with me.
Oh, don't jump too far.
Of the physicists.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It even includes my family.
Right, Professor Michel Mayor, another of the physicists.
Yes, our society is looking for important challenge, and I'm very sad to see that in many parliaments we have very few scientists being part of the decision, political decision.
Okay, let's just hear a little bit more then about
You want scientists to be more decision makers. Right, let's go to 31. Be careful, this one can get away from us. Oh! Time's slowing down right there. Right, 31. So I'll go a bit before because there's always a build up. What was this? I don't
So you either believe it or you don't. If you believe it, as we all do, then it's a matter of immediacy.
But I don't think it's not belief. It's facts versus lies.
elaborating.
Right. Excuse me again, just for a second. This, once again, is the push for man-made climate change. This guy says it's about the facts, right? Man-made climate change is a thing. There is no way in any dimension that anybody has a grip or the knowledge of all of the variables that are involved in the climate on this planet or any other planet, right? There is too much going on. Nobody can pinpoint a particular reason or two or three or four reasons why the climate is either warming or cooling. There is too much going on. It's impossible. It's impossible. So that is the only fact. So when he's talking,
Just expand on that, Professor Simonsen.
It's people lying for their own self-interest and against humanity. And frankly, to me, it's kind of hard to believe. But this is what we're faced with.
People with veg-
I have to. This guy is, it's hard to find the words.
vested interests, or who do you mean in
Yes.
particular?
Many people with many different vested interests.
Professor Peebles?
Let's bear in mind that this problem of climate is so difficult. Remember
Now this guy is the only one talking any sense, right?
that the prime greenhouse gas is water vapor. Without water vapor, this would be a snowball planet. Water vapor depends on how the clouds form. That depends on how centers of nucleation set out by salt spray. So many uncertainties. We should be cautious about overstating the direction we're going, other than that it sounds dangerous.
So what you mean there might be a big freeze round the corner?
Well, I'm no climatologist, but you can see how complicated the problem is. Sweden depends on the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream could start flowing another direction, and you would have a local deep freeze.
So what, you don't think that these climate scientists who do all their projections about this is how things
Well,
go?
belief is always a dangerous thing, but
You're sounding a bit skeptical.
well, I am, because I see the problem is so complex. And so
So
I feel nervous about saying we are headed toward an overheated planet. We're doing a dangerous experiment, but I don't think we know which direction it's going to go.
The problem is by the time we find out, it'll be too late.
Oh, certainly.
By the time we find out, listen, nobody knows what the climate is going to do. Nobody knows why it's warming. Nobody knows why it would be cooling. Nobody knows. There are too many variables involved. Unbelievable.
Celeste, you can't be too sure about Remember the Yogi Berra, predictions are difficult, particularly about the future.
Bill Caden, you want to say something to James Peebles directly?
So I think it's important for people to understand that it's almost impossible
to get scientists to agree on anything, including things that are clearly
Right, I think that's
true.
just about it here for this one. So let's go to 3545. I'm not sure what this one was. Let me see. Ah, yeah. Oh, yes. So this will be the last one for now.
Universe, the cosmos, and return to the physics laureates, but let's see what your prize was awarded for first. 95% of the universe consists of something we know very little about, dark energy and dark matter. Those terms were defined by James Peebles, and that gave us the science of cosmology, a new understanding of the universe's structure and history. Michel Mayor and Didier Queloz started an astronomy revolution by discovering a planet outside our solar system, the first exoplanet 51 Pegasi b. More than 4,000 exoplanets have since been found in the Milky Way, perhaps making the thought of extraterrestrial life a little bit less fiction-like. Okay, physics laureates, straight to the point. Professor Mayor, is there life somewhere out there?
We don't know.
Oh. I mean,
But this is a very important domain for the next generation.
The next
Because we are sure
generation.
that we have plenty of rocky planets at some good distance from the stars to have the possibility to have the complex chemistry needed
Right,
for
then.
life development. So
I'm not sure. I think it might have just been that.
on Mars, on Venus, and other satellites of giant Jupiter. And then we can push further out to maybe all these other planets. What can we say about life on it? So it's a very, very long process.
Yeah, of course, it's a long process, mate. It's about common sense.
of the cosmos, the universe, and Earth's place in the cosmos. But before I move on to that, just as, do you believe that there might be extraterrestrial life in whatever form out there?
I think what is charming is the fact that we can be quite sure that there are thousands of millions of planets in our galaxy. There are thousands of millions of galaxies. There will be that many planets on which all sorts of marvelous things are happening that we, the human race, will never see.
So it's possible.
My lesson is we have a very limited reach.
Don't disappoint all those science fiction fans who are watching this and so on, but
Who have their head totally in the clouds because of the amount of horseradish that they're fed.
There are things to worry about.
all right.
Yes.
And okay, fair enough.
You've got other things to worry about, like what's happening on this planet, but they have so many people focused on stuff that is irrelevant and that is never going to come to be. Everybody's missing the stuff that's happening down here. Right, look, I'm going to call that one for now. That would have been it.
Not the place. It is not our place in a way. There's nothing is for us is designed there. No, there is just a practicality. I think just try to take a plane already and to cross the Atlantic.
Come and say hello to my little friend. Mate, that was my oyster, mate. Tony Montana, Scarface.
And it takes some time. Well, try to go to the moon.
Oh, try to go to the moon. That would be a fine thing to see.
Oxygen is very toxic unless you have ways to protect yourself against it. So there's been, I think, a tremendous range of life.
Hang on, her face. What? When that guy
Piers may
talks,
think we need to
talks
dream
like
and maybe there's something up there. Let's keep looking.
Well, I think, if you look at life on planet Earth, it's changed dramatically. So, for example, the first forms of life existed on a planet where there was no oxygen. And so they required completely different strategies to make energy and to survive. And then somehow an organism learned how to trap the sun's light in carbon bonds to make sugar by photosynthesis. And one of the byproducts of that was to generate oxygen. And oxygen accumulated within within the atmosphere and probably killed most of the organisms that were living at the time, because oxygen is very toxic unless you have ways to protect yourself against it. So there's been...
Are we enjoying the explanation so far? On Nobel.
I think a tremendous range of life on Earth and different strategies of life, and so there's no reason to believe that there wouldn't be other strategies on other planets that would allow life to exist.
Anybody on the, is there life out there? And then we'll move on, but yes, okay.
Yes, I kind of want to.
No, we don't need to go there. All right. So there we are again. That's Nobel Prize with us. So I'm not sure. I'm going to check that 2021 with the 3 things in the first 4.5 minutes. So there's all the stuff. Seriously? Alright. The climate thing. There are simply too many variables involved. Look at Hawaii's erupting right now. When something like that erupts, it creates more landmass underneath the water, doesn't it? So it's going to expand. Water displacement, it pushes into the ocean. It's not got anywhere to go apart from up, hasn't it? Now, they never mention water displacement, do they? 80% of volcanic activity is under the water. All that landmass that is constantly growing. Water displacement has to come up. All of these islands, Hawaii, the Canary Islands, all of these volcanic stuff came from the bottom. All of that stuff has displaced water, so it has to go up. When something like that happens under the water, currents change. You heard what he said about the what was it? Not the Gulf Stream, the something up in Sweden. If there's earthquakes, currents are changing, moving. There's so much going on in the climate, it cannot be pinpointed why it's either going up or down, temperature-wise. It's purely common sense. Nobody has that knowledge. All right, peeps, we'll be back.